Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of In the Eyes of Truth. Today we have with us, I'm sorry if I'm going to mispronounce your last name, your family name, Anton Plaquevent.
Plaquevent, ouais,
Ah,
Plaquevent in French.
Plaquevent,
In France,
Plaquevent.
Plaquevent.
Hey there, entrepreneurs. Are you feeling the squeeze from increasing regulations and higher taxes? Maybe you've noticed the growing instability and thought there has to be a better way. Well, you're not alone, and that's exactly why you need to consider offshoring your wealth now. Imagine a life where your hard-earned money isn't constantly under threat from unpredictable government policies. Sounds pretty good, right? Let me tell you. It's not just a dream, it's a smart strategy. Here at Exit Strategy, we specialize in helping entrepreneurs like you protect and grow their wealth. We navigate the complex world of international finance so you don't have to, from setting up offshore accounts to advising on the best countries with favorable tax laws. We've got you covered. Now, I know what you're thinking. Offshoring sounds risky, maybe even a bit shady, but the truth is many savvy business owners are already doing it. It's not just about dodging taxes, it's about creating a safety net for your future. Imagine diversifying your assets across multiple jurisdictions. When one country faces economic downturns, your wealth remains secure. Think of it as an insurance policy against the uncertainties of life. And let's not forget, having a portion of your wealth offshore can open up opportunities for international investments. You're no longer limited by the economic climate of a single country. You can tap into booming markets around the world, maximizing your returns. But here's the kicker. Time is of the essence. With increasing global scrutiny and tightening regulations, the window for easy offshoring is closing fast. The sooner you act, the better positioned you'll be. So why wait? Protect your wealth, secure your future, and explore new opportunities with Exit Strategy. Don't let the rising dangers in the US economy catch you off guard. Reach out to us today and take the first step towards financial freedom. Because when it comes to your wealth, playing it safe is the riskiest move of all. Thanks for watching, and remember, your future starts with the decisions you make today. Choose wisely, choose Exit Strategy. Catch you in the next video.
The French always make it difficult for non-French to so they can laugh at us. Look at how badly he pronounces. Uh, for those who don't remember, Antoine, he is a French writer and political analyst. Got three books published. He also runs a private think tank, Strategico. Sorry about that.
Strategic.
Yeah. It specializes in cognitive warfare, metapolitics, and geopolitics.
Mm-hmm.
Geopolitics is
Right?
actually what we want to talk. Well, first,
Yes.
let's talk about France and
Mm-hmm.
Macron.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how long does Macron have left in office?
Now it's nearly 8 years, I think. Yes.
Yeah,
Tw 20, 2017, I think. It was like this. The
he's got
election.
what, another half a year left, or
Hmm?
how long does he still have in office before he has to leave?
Now it's 2 years.
Oh, he's got 2 more years. Okay.
2 more years, but maybe I think that's why now they are preparing something in order to maintain perpetual how to say this state of exception in order to implement all their European Euro-globalist decision in France. So Macron is here to stay only for this, to implement this kind of politics which are decided in outside France. So
I think what do they call that? Dictatorship.
yeah, no, it's a dictatorship, yes.
I think we've seen that before. That's called a
But
dictatorship.
normally the dictator has to leave after his task is done. So maybe his task is longer than it's more difficult. That
That's a traditional dictator, as the
the
Greeks
traditional,
determined.
yes, Greeks and the Romans,
But
Romans
the
dictator.
modern version of dictator
But
is I'll leave
the
when I
state,
die, you know?
yes.
Or get overthrown. That's and the people. How do you think the people are going to react to perpetual Macron?
But now the society, like a lot of Western societies, is divided, deeply divided. But also, Macron can use this state of inner civil war, perpetual civil war, in order to mobilization to have mobilization around his basis. But
Hmm.
but his basis of people really following his politics became thinner and thinner. But that's why. But it's the same logic in all Europe. That's why globalists needs perpetual state of emergency. If it's not the COVID, now it will be the war against Russia. It will be something else. They need. It will be a climate or climate change or ecological fears. They need this state of emergency in order to maintain their position in the society and to change the society following the guideline of their agenda. And now Europa is surrounded by illiberal state, as they call them in Eurasia, for Russia and China. And now even the United States are leaving the classical liberal agenda. So now Europe is like at the time of it happened every century. It happened with Napoleon, it happened with Hitler, and now it's happening with Macron. But the ideology changes, but the situation, the geopolitical situation remains the same. Every time Europe wanted to unite in a military way, it was under the emergency of a war against Russia. And so it was like this for Napoleon. The ideology at this time was French Illuminism, and the idea of French Revolution. Then one century after, it was under Germany, and with the ideology of racial supremacism. And now it's under France again, but with the idea of globalism. And now it's maybe like Stalin used to say, socialism in only country. Now it's globalism in only continent in Europe. Now globalism is now America maybe it's is left globalism. So globalism is now in Europe. It's a Europe fortress of globalism, like like Hitler times.
But first of all, pan-European invasions of Russia started in 1012,
Mhm.
when Prince Boleslav Hrabry of Poland, that was just congealing into Poland, along with his Holy Roman Empire allies, invaded.
Mhm.
Well, that
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
first big
yeah,
pan-European
yeah, yeah,
invasion.
yeah. Mm.
There's been
Yeah.
many. Hitler and Napoleon are just the loudest. But we had Charles the Great. We had
Yeah, but
Sigmund
I was
Soon.
talking about yes,
Yeah,
modern history, and with a similarity for us. For Russia, it's I will say it's the same story for for the Teutonic ages, but for
yeah, yeah.
for modern Europeans, as we see it, with modern states trying to fuse, to merge all the European states in one super Euro state. It's the idea of Napoleon, it's the idea of Hitler, and now it's the idea of all the Western globalists. It's funny that now, funny. It's
Yeah, yeah.
to note that now in France, when you see people defending Europe, they say they are the main current globalists like Bernard-Henri Lévy, people like that. Now they they urge us to create a Europe, a pan-European union, a military pan-European union, in order to defend both from the east and from the west. So it's
Yeah.
now the globalists, traditional anti-fascists, likes European power politics and want us to go to war. The same that explain us from many decades that war is the past, that war is nationalism. The same now they want us quickly to rearm and to have vindicate spirits against even against their the American allies. So it's very funny to note this.
Well, who's going to be the Führer in this case? Because it looks like Merz wants to be the Führer. It looks like Macron wants to be the Führer. And then there's the little Steimer dog yapping in the sidelines that's nipping at the. So who's going to get to have the honor of shooting themselves in the bunker
I
before the Russian tanks get there?
I think Macron believes he has this kind of role, historical role to create the European super states. But that's the main problem of Europe now. So you can have maybe power, economical power, military power, but if you don't have how to say this, the ruling class, even the society that you can mobilize in order to make war, it's just a fiction. So I think it's a sort of everything in our times, it's sort of fictional, and it's the fiction of war against Russia for us in France. It's not like we are not Ukrainians, we are not Polish, we are not at the border of Russia. So it's but they need to maintain the population in this state of tension in order to destroy and the economic wealth of Europe and to transform the society in order to make their great reset agenda, their globalist agenda. So, and I think there are also another problem that now they cannot do the colonization of outside the Western world. So now they will colonize inside the Western world. That's why also the USA now are against Europe, because they cannot no longer colonize Russia or China or vital interests of China or Russia. So they are attacking Europe for this, Middle East for this. They are attacking. It's a sort of inner under colonization there. So that's why the main problem of Europe now. As GD even say, it's not America, it's not Russia, it's not China, it's Europe itself. But it's not Europe, it's the globalist elites in Europe. It's European deep states, which you say, who will be the Führer in Europe? It's now it's not in those terms the problem. The problem is of all these European invisible European deep states. Which exist and which leads the political guidelines. For example, European Council on Foreign Relations, Bilderberg Club, all these private think tanks. I made a study on the European Council on Foreign Relations, who was founded and funded by George Soros in 2007. Now all Soros networks and globalist networks are retreating on Europe because it's the main party of the world that they control. If they lose control in America, in Russia, in China, everywhere. They will they will be on Europe, and they will suck our blood until the end, because that's what a parasite do. It cannot create, so it will pump your force until you are zombified to the core. So I don't know, maybe now. I don't know how it will end, because of this. We are under maximal pressure, and I think the best thing for outside countries, it's to wait. That's what Russia do. It's the wait until the crumbling of European states, because it will. I think, and well, I think it will be the main things to do.
You know what worries me though, it's one thing with France, and I think the UK is going to crumble much faster. It already is. The Germans, I hear certain experts that I'm on different programs with. They're trying. Russians also do copium. They're trying to cope. Oh, it'll take Germans 20 years. Well, no, it won't. It took Hitler from 1933 to 1939. He wasn't fully ready, but the inflation rates were hitting so hard he had to go start now. But and that's considering Germany produced 47 tanks in World War One, and that's it.
Mhm.
Today's Germany has a much more advanced automotive and tank production industry. In 4 years, ignoring the needs of the people, of course, just like Hitler did, but in 4 years they could actually mobilize and they could retool themselves to a full war economy, and not a
Mhm.
small one. So from our side, that's something we should be considering and worrying about. That, yeah, you're laughing now, but in 24, the German military industrial sector grew 40%. So I mean,
Mhm.
and now they're
No,
planning
you're
another
right.
trillion
Mhm.
plus euro. What about the French? The last time the Germans armed up very, the last two times the Germans armed up very hard, the first strike always fell on France.
Ouais.
Any which way it turned, it still fell on France. Anybody
The
worrying about that? Because they seem to be encouraging the Germans.
But France is political leadership in Europe is France. Industrial leadership is Germany, and that's why globalists need to maintain industrial leadership on Germany, and political in France. It's really the political leadership, and that's why, because we are really a political nation. We Our identity, it's not like Germany, it's not cultural identity, it's a state identity, it's a political identity. So that's why you have sequences in France like Yellow Jacket a few years ago, that you have this kind of when you have the COVID, when you have anti-pass sanitary pass mobilization. It was in France, that was the biggest, because the population is very political population, and that's why they have to maintain this pressure on France. And the problem that now in France, it's you have I've said this one only one political party, even if you have Macron, Rassemblement National, and all politics are in the same system. There is no real alternative. So that's the main problem, I think, and that's why Macron has a historical role to merge the French states in this European super states, which is against all the French political tradition, because France even exists because it resists against the Holy German Empire for many centuries, and both also against the Catholic Church with the Catholic Church, and also maintaining the Catholic Church in a way that the Catholic Church cannot be a super European state. So the identity of France, political identity of France, is to maintain balance of powers between European powers. And now we have the last, I will say, the last king, French king, with this long-term guideline, political guideline, was De Gaulle. And from De Gaulle, we were getting out of this traditional political guideline, French guideline. So now we have only all the French political personnel is Euro globalist, or so we are now. Macron speaks about how to say this, to merge the strategical nuclear interest of France with all Europe. So this is the main danger, because if we do this after, maybe if Poland is at war with Russia, so it will be Poland is vital strategic interest for France, and we can use nuclear weapons because our vital interest in the Eastern Europe are attacked. So, but before now, if you see the how France is invested in the Eastern Europe, in Serbia, in Romania, and now the war, it's a war with using like Euromaidan years ago. It's a war with the mobilization of society, which has been theorized for many many think tanks. So now there is this. We are in this period of weaponizing civil societies in Eastern Europe. You have and so, but after, because, for example, in Romania, Europe cannot permit to lose control on Romania, because in Romania we are, and France is helping on this. We are building the main NATO basis in Romania, bigger than Ramstein in Germany, in order to confront with Russia. So I think you were talking about yes, Germany, but I think for all Europe there is this politic of we are they say we have maybe a few years. I think they from now to 2030 they want to make this pan-European military force in order to confront after with Russia. And I, in one of my books, I quoted the project that an Italian politician and also who was also an engineer and very clever person in all technologies and stuff like that. And he was a member of the Club of Rome. And he was the one who really created the five-star movements in Italy. Five Stars movement presented itself as a left sovereignist movement, but the real founder was sort of a globalist, and he wrote all. Yes,
Meloni,
sort of.
Meloni.
Yeah, sort of left.
She turned around really quickly, so she got power.
Yeah, and this one, his name was Casaleggio. He wrote a document which was called to Gaia, the future of politics. And in this document, it was written in, I think, in 2008, something like that. He said that from 2018 there will be a global pandemics in the world. How he
A
has
little
this
bit off,
crystal ball
a couple of years. Yeah.
crystal ball to imagine this. And then he says after this we will be in a war between the West and the Russian and China alliance, a war that will last for maybe one decade or more. And it will be it will alternate like phases of Cold War and phases of hot war. And he says that at the end of this war, Russia and China will lose. So after this war, there will be a sort of global government, etc. And but the population will go down to 1 billion of people for all the world, which is always the obsession of all globalists to reach the 1 billion of people of a population, because after Gaia is in danger. So, and yes, and if you look all the how to say this, all the goals of the traditional goals of political globalism, it's always the same thing. You have to down the population, the demographic. You have to control Europe, to make it in order make a to say this a new a new division between Europe and Russia that goes from the Baltic Sea to the Mediterranean Sea, and now even to the Red Sea, in order to make the traditional dividing Eurasia, like Brzezinski said. If you find in my books, I've to say this, I have noted all the main tasks for globalists, and they are always the same. That it's to maintain Europe in the vassalization of United States. That's why now there is this thing of Macron and people like that who say, okay, now we have to reorganize ourselves because America is against us. But all those people are came from young leaders programs. They have been selected from years by Anglo-American programs. So I think that the English and American programs have selected these people even in the to be their allies, but also to be the best enemies. Because if you have Macron as you say, as a Führer for Europe, it's perfect. It's not a danger. So the traditional globalist politics will continue when you have people like even people like Jacques Chirac or Gerhard Schroeder. They have all this vision of political and geo-economical continuum between Paris, Berlin, and Moscow. They were doing alliance with Putin and programs of geo-economical programs with French, Germany, and Russia, and that was the main danger for English and Americans. And this traditional politics from Mackinder to now is to to oppose this Eurasiatical cooperation between the main powers of Eurasia. So that's to say now there with the war, because I always say it's not a war a war only from the West against Russia. It's a war from the West against Russia and Europe. Well, that's why, and it has to cut Europe from Russia, and after the next phase is to destroy Europe industrial industrial perspectives. And it's always the same when you see the Second World War. It was like this. First,
Yep,
they
yep.
first they help even fascism, and when fascism needs the help of the West to win against Russia, they, they allies with Russia, and then they begin again the Cold War against Russia. It's always always the same politics, and they arrived with Marshall Plan, with they reconstruct Europe, and that's always the same politics, which is now sad for us in Europe, for I will say conservative European, patriotical Europeans. That now we are both. We cannot move. We are under this pressure, and we don't know. We are like the frog which is cooked, boiled clean, right? And so we are waiting to but we cannot go outside outside this pressure. So that's a big problem. So I think there will be inner problem in Europe itself, but the problem, for example, in France, I see it. They are making a lot of publicity around the military reserve, you call like this, when even a non-military person can be a military, for example, for 1 month or a year. And then you can be, after this, you are considered like a military, and you can be mobilized if there is a problem. So I think they are, as they are destroying the wealth, public wealth and private wealth in France and in Europe, they are preparing also that people without jobs will go for many, especially the young, in the army, maybe not all the year, during all years, but during part of the year. But after, you will be considered as a soldier if there is a problem. So it can be used inside, maybe in perspective of civil war, which in France is already partly in civil war. You have every day people are assaulted or killed, or I don't know. A few weeks ago, a person has been even shooted on the highway while he was driving, because people were firing themselves. Drug dealers were, but so now this more than insecurity, this really public street is everywhere. So there will be inside confrontation and maybe outside confrontation. I heard an analyst who said that, for example, now the French railway companies are preparing scenarios for trains to transform trains in ambulatory trains for to make injured military come faster in the hospitals in France from Eastern Europe.
Let me ask you
So,
this. Let me ask you this.
hmm?
First of all, do you think Macron is going to send troops? And second of all, in all of this, so the French people are supposed to go fight against Russia, but you have an army of immigrants who don't want to
Yeah.
fight and who are, if I'm a French guy and I have a wife, I have daughters, and I'm supposed to go fight and possibly die against Russia, while at home my women are under threat daily on the streets. What's my
Hey,
motivation?
and they have two problems. They have people who likes Putin in France. They are both nationalists and immigrants
Ah,
because
yeah.
Algerians and all the Arabs people likes
Mhm.
Putin. So French nationalists likes also Putin. So that's the two main categories of people that will go that go in the army, and they like Russia. So but but more
Yeah,
seriously,
that's
yes, it's a real question because. Uh, but I think it's the problem of political liberalism because, and that's why America is urging now to go outside this wokeness and things like that. Because okay, it's you can use this as a tool to weaken enemy societies. But if you also have your own population to become woke and gay.
yeah.
If your enemy is not woke and gay, how you do this? That's why there is this hypocrisy that they needed Ukrainian nationalism. So they found they founded. Ukrainian nationalism, so even fascism, Nazism at the border of Europe. But after, if you ask also if the core of Europe is liberal, as you while you on which ideology, on which you will make this weak European people to become I don't know Azov warrior in order
Yeah.
to fight Russia. It's not possible. So that's the problem. But maybe if they have the idea, it will not be maybe in next year, in two next year, but maybe in 5 years, 10 years, maybe they can uh, prepare the population because there is also but I don't know for this because if you see the states of the population now in France, for example, suicide rates between the young people, it's from the COVID time to now, it has been always became higher.
Hmm.
If you see also as I talked before, the demographic rates also. If people are not making kids, people have been even sterilized by the way of life, but also by the medics and other things. Uh, so, as you, yes, what kind of population you can use for, but that's and also if you see the population that can uh, became good fighters, I will say. They are conservative people, as you say, that they don't want, like me, to go to kill Ivanovich when there are Algerians here in France who can kill my family. It's nonsense. So that's why I think it's they can have the industrial and even military resources, but the
Mhm.
human resources now it will be difficult.
So do you think he's still going to send the 10,000 that he keeps talking about, or this is just a bluff?
Ah, no, you can no, they can they need to maintain this tension, so they can take French military make them occupy some zone. But yes, to maintain tension, to have, but also to transform the French army in army which was a projection army. Like doing international mission, like going in Afghanistan, something like that. It's not the same thing that now having an army of with a national guard, with population implication in the army task. And really, if when you see you say, even when you go, for example, on Saturday in a supermarket or in a big French city, you see already it's not a society, it's a society, it's dissocied. It's the opposite of society. Now it's already
Anton, I'm
civil
sorry I
war
have
for me.
to interrupt. We
Yeah,
are
yeah.
almost out of time. We've
Yeah,
got
yeah,
like
yeah.
30 seconds left. I want to thank everybody who joined and listened to the call to the interview. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Anton, thank you for joining.
I think